Good Sunday evening, everybody, and welcome into the Rocky Top Rewind. I am Eric Kane alongside Brent Hubbs here at Volquest.com on the YouTube channel. And of course, you can check us all out on the General's Quarters and everything, Volquest.com. Big week coming up, the third Saturday in October. We're going to be joined by Bama online publisher Tim Watts here in about 15 minutes, and going to get the scoop on Alabama here. Big rivalry coming up. We're going to discuss everything Tennessee and Arkansas. Of course, Tennessee holds on for the 34-31 win over the Hogs to improve to 5-1, 2-1 in SEC play. And, of course, we'll take your questions throughout here the next hour on the Rocky Top Rewind. The Rocky Top Rewind presented by the great people over at Spivey King and Spivey LLP. If you got a problem, let them find a solution for you. TN Trial Law. You're going to get a free consultation if you dial the phone number 423-245-4185. So big thanks to Spivey King and Spivey LLP for being a part of the show. All right, 34-31. Tennessee built that lead up, Brent, to two possessions and 17 points at one point in time. But Arkansas just kept battling back. Too late, their two fourth quarter touchdowns kind of erased what looked like a pretty strong defensive second half, at least in the third quarter. And of course, made it 3 points. But Tennessee defense, again, a lot of the same, right? Feast or famine. 5 sacks, 3 takeaways, but allowing over 200 yards on the ground. And of course, third down defense was not great yesterday.
No, it wasn't. And obviously, you can't give up those explosive plays. It's one thing to let Arkansas methodically drive the field in the fourth quarter and take 5.5 minutes off the clock to go score. But then they come back to cut it to 3 and they go 7 plays in a minute and 50 seconds or whatever it is. You can't allow a 30-yard seam pattern at that point in time. You just got to play it better than what you did. And it's unfortunate because it changes the dynamic and it changes the outlook of kind of how that game went. You never apologize for winning a game, and you never look a gift horse in the mouth or call anything. There's no such thing as a bad win, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, you're not going to be able to play that way and beat some of the teams remaining on your schedule. You're going to have to play better. This team's got to get better. This team's got to get better on defense. They've got to get more sound defensively. They can't be feast or famine the way they are. Tennessee's got to capitalize on turnovers better offensively. They didn't take enough advantage of that. So there's plenty to work on, but you won. You survived. You advanced. That's what you're trying to do right now. In every game that you play, you flush that one quickly and you get ready to play an Alabama team that doesn't run it as well as Arkansas does, but they throw it and they can carve you up. And that's the concern going into this game with Tennessee's secondary where they are right now.
Yeah, and of course we'll learn more about Alabama here in a couple of moments when Tim Watts joins the show, and we'll set the scene all week long for Alabama. They play a little bit better defense than Arkansas as well, so I think Tennessee's going to have to prepare for that. Some positive. There's a lot to pick apart, and you and I have written about it. Third down defense of third and 7 or more, atrocious red zone defense in terms of giving up touchdowns. Explosive plays given up by this defense. You and I looked over the stats last night, and you looked up a bunch of stats. We kind of put it in word form last night, and I had it on the Sunday 4 downs as well. So there's a lot of alarming things to go along with one of the nation leaders in sacks and takeaways and defensive touchdowns and all that. But there's a lot of positives from this football game as well. Offensively, against a team that has a horrible defense statistically, right? You did what you were supposed to. 485, total yards. Averaged 7.5 yards per play, ran 65 plays, ran the football effectively like you're supposed to, 264. And I thought Deshaun Bishop was great. Obviously, it was unfortunate to see him go out late in that football game. He was wanting to come back in. You were down there on the sideline. You can give some more perspective on this. But when I watched the replay today, he was standing there just trying to get back in, but they told him he couldn't. I'm intrigued to know how that feels today and tomorrow. But, boy, he had a good game, man. He was patient. They had no answer for him, and that was really good to see. I think Tennessee running the football needed a good bounce-back run game, and they got that.
Yeah, they did, and he was hot, and he played really well. So you hope that he's healthy. We'll see what the ankle looks like here over the next 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, they're not going to take any chances with him early in the week, and Josh Heupel is going to talk about the Wednesday report and all that stuff, which I get. But we'll see. Tomorrow's a really light day of nothing for a lot of the ways, and it'll be nothing for Deshaun Bishop, and we'll see how he is. But he played really well. I think he finally got in a true rhythm. He was in a rhythm to start, and then they were feeding him in the second half. And, it's just unfortunate he got hurt. So there's certainly a positive there. No doubt about that. I thought, Kitzman had the one drop, but he did some other things that was really good.
Thought he played well.
I thought getting Van Dorselaer some snaps was good, was important. They were more 12 personnel than they've been in a bit, and that's because of what some of the Arkansas defensive structure was doing. But I like the fact that this offense has more answers to what teams are doing. That's what Arkansas did yesterday was similar to what they did a year ago when Tennessee struggled to find answers to it. They had more answers to that stuff yesterday, and it showed offensively. They missed out on some opportunities. There's a couple series that I wasn't a big fan of how they managed it and what they called, but overall, this is what they did. I mean, this is they went and got it done, and you got to play better on all fronts, but you want it, and you go figure out a way to play better next week.
No doubt, Tennessee scores 34 points offensively, and they certainly didn't play bad, so that's not what I'm saying, but it's like, man, they left so much out there, and I wrote about it the Sunday Four Downs. There were 6 total drives where Tennessee made a stop defensively, meaning Arkansas didn't get any points, whether that be takeaways, punts, turnover on downs, whatever it is, and Tennessee was only able to score 14 points off of it. Had 3 takeaways, only scored 1 touchdown off of it. Very unfortunate to where you left so much meat on that bone in that regard. When the defense obviously has given up a lot of yards, but this defense is good to get a turnover or 2, it feels like, per game, and you got to take advantage of that, especially on the road against a team like Alabama coming up. Our guest joining us here in about 5 minutes. So let's answer some of your questions moving forward. Let's go to Sammy. Sammy wants to know, does David Sanders start this week, or is it going to be more of a rotation thing going forward?
I'm surprised he didn't start against Arkansas. I don't know that you put him down there in that night environment down there and say he's your starter. So I would guess it's a rotational thing for the next bit. Obviously, they're very pleased with where Sham Umaroff is. He played every snap. They rotated at center and they rotated at right tackle, but they didn't really rotate anywhere else. So they're obviously very comfortable with where that left side is, and doesn't feel like they want to disrupt any chemistry there by moving Wendell Moy back over to the other side. So we'll see if that changes, but it's hard for me to say that that's going to change on the road at Alabama. If you wanted to get David Sanders more integrated, this was the game to do it. And he played. I mean, he played on a regular basis. And I think he did some good things, some solid things. There's some other things that he had some freshman moments with as well. So it sounds like that, or it looks like that's going to be their plan, is to continue to rotate there.
Yeah, David Sanders played 22 snaps. A question for you. Do you think they rotated at center? I mean, William Satterwhite played 19 snaps, so a couple series. Do you think they rotated at center because Pendleton's still kind of coming off a bum ankle?
Yeah, I think that's what that was. I think it was the ankle. He was hobbling a little bit, and he kind of gutted through it. But I think they were trying to sort of manage that the best that they could. He never really sat down. He stayed moving to stay loose, but he was clearly the ankle was clearly bothering him a bit. Now, Perry didn't seem to be as bothered by his ankle. So I was a little surprised that they rotated the way they did at tackle and didn't leave Perry on the field, and move him inside. But I think the Pendleton move and the Satterwhite move was strictly because of the ankle.
Yeah, no doubt. Sammy has a follow-up question. Does Perlotti take those first half reps for Spillman? Edwin Spillman kicked out of the game for targeting. He will miss the first half against Alabama. And every time I think we might see more of a rotation at linebacker, I don't know. I mean, you saw Jaden Harmon, feels like a month ago, hadn't seen him since, it feels like. Jordan Burns played 11, 13 snaps at Mississippi State, got in a little yesterday, but the guy that kind of came out of nowhere again was Jaden Perlotti, and he was productive. I know you made note of this, but he made a really nice tackle on the sideline with a scrambling Taven Green. He had obviously he was there to scoop up that forced fumble from Joshua Josephs. The speed, it's just different, right? Maybe we'll see if Perlotti kind of gets some of those first half reps, but Edwin Spillman will not be playing in the first half against Alabama for the targeting role. That was late in the ball game against Arkansas. Yeah,
I mean, my guess is he's probably going to see Ben Bolton, because that's where you're comfortable. But we'll see what they do with Perlotti. Perlotti. I think Jaden played well. He certainly surprised Green with how quickly he got there to the edge, because Green didn't think he was going to get tackled there. I think he's the only linebacker on the roster that could have made that play last night. And Speed never had a bad day, so that's why you got to look at that. But I'm a little hesitant because William N said coming out of the Georgia loss, hey, I should have played Jaden Harmon more. Should have got him 12, 15 snaps to spell and kind of help the snap load. And he hasn't done that since. So we'll see if that's how they go about it or not. I mean, that rotation at that position seems a little bit helter-skelter. Some weeks it's Bolton more, some weeks it's Burns. Every now and then it's Perlotti. It's not been as much Harmon. So we'll see. I'm not real sure there.
Yeah. Well, let's one more question, then we're going to get some housekeeping items out of the way before we welcome on Tim Watts from Bama Online. This is from Scott here. He said, with how terrible officiating has been all season, I finally agree with Hubbs that the referee should have to attend a post-game press conference and answer questions. Man, was it the worst officiating in the league yesterday? Nope, and not by a wide margin. Oh my goodness, that Georgia-Auburn game was atrocious. But I did think there were several missed calls. Defensive pass interference, some holding, I think personal fouls that were missed, and when the defender spiked the football. Tennessee's 10 penalties were valid. I'm not saying it should have been split even or whatever, but there was a lot that was missed. And I mean, 10 penalties to 1, like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's a football game, right? Like, that should never happen. Was it the worst officiating football game I've seen? Far from it. But especially on rewatch, they missed a lot in that game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think you said it better than I could say it. It's the ratio that's the head scratcher. The 10 to 1 is just wait a minute, how does that happen?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they're never going to come in a press conference and answer anything. The SEC is never going to have transparency about things. We'll see if the SEC makes any kind of statement about the clapping / timeout, whatever that was that Kirby Smart did in that deal. My guess is they probably won't, because that's not what they do in this league. But the lack of transparency creates plenty of conspiracy theories about things in this league regarding officiating.
Let's get a word about our presenting sponsor, that's Spivey King and Spivey LLP. So we're going to do that right now. We'll welcome Tim Watts, Bama Online. Grant Ramey's going to join the conversation as well. Plus, a lot of your questions will be on the live here on the YouTube channel till 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Appreciate you guys for joining us here on the Rocky Top Rewind. I'm going to give a shout-out to our friends, the presenting proud sponsors of the Rocky Top Rewind each and every Sunday night during football season. That is Spivey King and Spivey LLP. If you got a problem, let them find a solution for you. That is TN Trial Lawyers. They specialize in criminal defense, family law, personal injury, examples of which can be DUI, assaults, divorce, custody, alimony, personal injuries such as car wrecks, and accidents. With over 80 years of combined experience, Spivey King and Spivey LLP provides representation throughout the state and federal courts of Northeast Tennessee. They've got a firm that has been practicing primarily in Northeast Tennessee, the Tri-Cities of Sullivan County, as well as Hawkins County, Washington County, and surrounding areas. The firm has won multiple awards and have attorneys who have been rated by super lawyers with real Mid-South trial experience. Matthew A. Spivey, J. Matt King, Richard A. Spivey, great guys, Tennessee fans like you and I, and they can help you if you have a need. Whether you've been injured in a car accident, need help with a divorce, help with custody of your children, or have been accused of a crime, Spivey King and Spivey LLP, they can help you. Pick up the phone today and dial this number for a free consultation. That is 423-245-4185. One more time, that is 423-245-4185. Check them out online at Spivey King and Spivey LLP.com as well. Spivey King and Spivey LLP. If you got a problem, let them find a solution for you. That is TN Trial Lawyers. They are the presenting sponsors of the title sponsors of the Rocky Top Rewind. Also, want to give a shout out to Game Time for also being a part of the show. Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. It's a hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps, because, you know, we all like to go to football games. We all like to go to concerts, but sometimes we feel like getting the tickets for those events are more of a hassle than maybe the football game itself for the players, right? Endless queues, hidden fees at checkout. Game Time's not about that, all right? No surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you get. You can see your view of your seat before you even purchase your ticket. And they have the most flexible and best customer service policy in all the ticket industry. Plus, they got the lowest price guarantee. So Game Time's going to credit you 110% of the difference if you find a cheaper ticket somewhere else on an alternate app. Here's what you do. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets today, college football tickets, with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the redeem code ON3. Redeem code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create that account. Redeem code ON3, ON3, ON3 for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All right, welcome back in here to the Rocky Top Rewind. You're on a Sunday night. Tennessee a 34-31 winner over Arkansas yesterday. Plenty of reaction over at Volquest.com as we speak. You get into tomorrow and everything's going to kind of turn to the third Saturday in October. Big rivalry game. And to tell us a little bit about previewing that matchup, we'll welcome on Bama Online publisher Tim Watts. Grant Ramey's also going to join the panel here. We got a full house. Tim, thanks so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
I like these odds, 3-on-1. This feels fair to me. This feels fair to me. No Austin. Y'all have increased your chances of winning. I like this move, Mr. Hubbs.
Well, we just follow whatever your contract says. I mean, we have to spend some rose petals out your way to get you to come on.
I said no green jelly beans. I said that specifically. No green jelly beans.
That's exactly
What's
right.
up, guys?
I'll have your delivery for you on Saturday. We're good, man. It's good to see you, and thanks for joining us. I do think this Alabama team's pretty fascinating because the obituary was written for them on week 1 when they didn't take care of business in Tallahassee against the Florida State team. That's obviously not what people thought they were after week 1. Where has Alabama really grown since that opening game loss?
I think composure stands out the most. I mean, you look at FSU, that's kind of, you roll the dice when you get a team with 40 new players, a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator. Alabama, for the most part, is very similar to what they were last year as far as the roster. You got to change in quarterback, but I think they composed themselves better. And Florida State went up 7-0. Looked like they were ready to rock and roll. A few things went against them, and you never really saw them get their footing. That was a 7-point game in the fourth quarter. They were in that game, but it never really felt like it. We've all seen that. We watch enough football to see games like that. So I do think the composure, Ty Simpson's grown a lot. I think the offensive line's better than it was.
I like the third Saturday in October. This is the worst part, though. I got to be on a video call with Tim Watts.
I made him. And I'm wearing his birthday present he got me.
Wait a minute. You made him be on the call, or you made him in this profession? What are you playing?
Let's not answer either of those questions, actually.
Yes. I'll tell yeses to every one of those questions.
Let's see. What's Ty Simpson? The numbers are very similar to what Joey Aguilar's done, but where has Ty Simpson grown the most from Tallahassee until now?
You see that confidence. I mean, his throw is one of the best throws in Alabama history when he hit Latsier Brooks on 4th down to very tight game on the road. I mean, it was a brilliant pass. You see him making those clutch plays. He's more spirited. He's more animated. I think a little bit shy and introverted maybe at times early in his career. But you can see that leadership role taking over for Ty. I mean, you see him on the sidelines. He's leading that team. And you know what? He waited a long time. He's an easy guy to root for if you're just a sports fan, because we see guys hitting the portal in the 5th game of the year. The 6th, they'll hit the portal in a heartbeat. But here's a guy who committed and said, I'm going to stay, there until it's my time to shine. Was never a guarantee he would get that time, but he's making the most of it. So that maturity certainly standing out.
Tim, tell me about this offensive line. Giving up 13 sacks, averaging about 126 on the ground. And I know Jam Miller, who, if you have an update there, I know he left the game yesterday. I know he's missed 3 or 4 games this year. Where's this offensive line? Where's this run game to help Ty Simpson 6 games in?
Well, Jam was a big part of it. He missed the first 4 games. He was injured in the preseason with the shoulder deal. He got concussed on Saturday, a very vicious hit. 2 guys ducking their head coming in, hit pretty good. So there's a chance that he'll be out this week. He's kind of that muscle between the tackles. He's a game changer. They have Kevin Riley, who's done a really good job. He's good out of the backfield. They got Daniel Hills, a 240-plus guy. Not going to be a lot of waggle sideline to sideline, but just get up and go. The offensive line does give up some sacks, and that's one thing I'm looking to see. Tennessee, I think, had 26 sacks coming into that. They're going to heat them up a little bit. Missouri did the same thing. They got to Ty 4 times. A couple of times it looked like just breakdowns, but as far as the biggest matchups, I think protecting Ty, giving him time to throw the ball is going to be important for Alabama. But establishing the run is something they've really worked to do, which was easier when Miller was back.
Tim, is this the identity that Kalen DeBoer wants for this offense? I mean, it's a little bit unorthodox from the tradition of Alabama, right? I mean, it's you're throwing it a lot. You're not. I know they don't have Jam Miller, but they haven't run it as much the last couple of years. Is this really his brand now? Do you think he's kind of established himself and got that thing that way?
Yeah, I think Ryan Grubb, if he has his choice, he'd throw it 70 times a game. He's really comfortable in that. He was that way when he was at Washington. They do run the ball. They're going to establish the run, but this isn't the best group of running backs Alabama's ever had. Y'all have seen Alabama for a lot of years. It's a different kind of group. Again, Kevin Riley's standing up when they need him to most, thread out the backfield. Young guys have to work, figure out how to pass protect. They're a big part of keeping that quarterback's butt off the ground. So they're going to pass, but he has made a concentrated effort the last couple of games. He's did it, very tough stretch, fourth ranked opponent in a row. He's established the run. He did it with Missouri. He's stuck with it instead of getting pass happy. But I think what you see is what you get. I mean, this team is built, if you look at them, 3 NFL wide receivers with Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, and Ryan Williams. They got other guys out there. They got good tight ends. They got guys, catching passes out of the back. So a lot of options there. And I think most coaching staffs would lean heavy on the pass, but they're going to work the ground game as much as they can.
Have you been surprised with how well they've handled their business? 3 straight games against ranked opponents in the SEC. That's tough for anybody, but just the way they've handled their business.
They've been very businesslike with it. I mean, these aren't games where, I'm on the back porch texting you talking trash with 10 minutes to go. I mean, I've got my phone, hidden in the freezer, trying to avoid all those texts I'm getting. But yeah, they did. I mean, it was a rough stretch. I mean, the one thing about Alabama, which has been the case for, the whole time Saban was there, this is a lot of everybody's Super Bowl that they've up to this point. Georgia had played Tennessee, so not really that, but obviously an important game. Vanderbilt, the whole year around it. I mean, Missouri basically had 3 weeks off to prepare. They had the bye week. They had Utah State. Everything was in on that game. Curious to see how they react going to Auburn, with so much on the game on the line. Tennessee's different. They played a quality opponent. They had a good competition on Saturday that they had to focus on. So not the same thing, but they did a good job of taking the shots. And, you lose to Florida State. I mean, the talk is always there. Bama's not the same. All the nicknames come out for Kalen DeBoer. But they rallied the troops, circled the wagon, or whatever cliche you want to use, I think, and they've looked good doing it.
Tim, one thing that stands out to me, sorry, Eric, one thing that stands out to me is the turnover margin. I mean, they're not turning it over. Alabama's not giving anybody extra opportunities. What has that surprised you that I think they've turned it over once or twice? They have like a +8 turnover margin in their favor. It's kind of ridiculous what they've been able to do in terms of securing the football.
I tell you the difference going back to Saban, a lot of those teams like A.J. McCarron wouldn't turn the ball over, but you didn't really see them stretch in the middle of the field and taking chances. Ty's taking those chances. So from that regard, it's a little bit different. Obviously, I think in this day of college football, everybody better be a blue-collar team. You better be humble. You better work hard. This is very similar to the NFL to me. You can get got on any given Saturday. So I think Alabama's like protect the football, establish the run as much as you can, and then find them chunk plays. And I think Tennessee's probably in the same boat. You want to get your moments when you can. You want to score anytime you can, obviously, but you don't want to give them a short field. Alabama had a fumble this past weekend, got beat with the bandit. Ty Simpson fumbled, easy touchdown for Missouri. Otherwise, the defense did a really good job in that game.
Yeah, Tim, tell me about that defense. Looking at the SEC stats, really good against the pass, middle of the road to upper tier, obviously, against total yards and points per game. 9 sacks seems a little low, but 11 takeaways, just like Tennessee's defense. What's that pass rush look like, and what's this defense overall do very well?
They're not getting they're running basically a 3-man front. They'll bring that wolf off the edge. They'll try to bring some safeties every now and then. They have good pressure. That's one thing they're getting. They're getting pressure. They're not necessarily getting guys to the ground. They've played in a really eccentric group of offenses so far, from Gunnar Stockton to the first game, Gus Malzahn with a new quarterback who was a little bit of a jackrabbit, had 8 months to prepare for that. So you're seeing the guys that they've played so far, even Vanderbilt throwing the veer at you and then going down to Missouri. So they've seen so many different offenses, a lot of offenses that won't give up a lot of sacks just because of the play calling. The defense is kind of, I hate to say bend but don't break. I mean, that's such a cliche. They'll give up yards. They try not to give up points. They did a good job of forcing turnovers. They make plays when they need to make plays. They came up with a big turnover, and basically every game they played during this 5-game win streak. So they're going to bend a little bit. They're going to try to limit the big plays. And that's been, if they give up a big play, a chunk play, that's when the defense kind of has its back against the wall. But they want to make you earn it, put it out in front of you, and go from there.
Is James Franklin in Tuscaloosa, or is he on his way? Is the Nick Saban coaching rehab center still open?
That was crazy.
Is Kalen DeBoer an adjunct professor in the Nick Saban coaching rehab program?
I cannot imagine James Franklin will be there, but I do imagine if Nick Saban was there, maybe it's a possibility. But I mean, that's another thing, getting off the topic, you're looking at all these coaches fired in the middle of the year. And I tell Alabama fans, college football has changed so much now every week. And, I say it every week is you better enjoy any win you got. Now, I'm a huge fan of the message boards. I was reading Volquest during the Arkansas game. Bama played at 11. I'm over there reading the fans' reaction because I'm dealing with it live. I mean, the Missouri was up 7-0. Everybody was fired. I was like, I think these guys are going to fire me. They drug me into this mess. Kalen DeBoer, you done got me fired, dude. They are so, but just the turnover with that. These games are hard. I mean, Kentucky struggled. Georgia struggled with Kentucky. Arkansas gave Tennessee a game. That is the SEC right now. That is what you're doing. So enjoy the wins, and you better not give a crap if they're by 1 or 100. You better just soak them in and be glad you got them.
Yeah, it's hard, and in this league, it's only going to get harder, is what it looks like. I mean, it's not slowing down anytime soon. But we live in a strange world, Tim. I mean, a world where the blue bloods aren't 12 deep at every position, and Indiana's ranked second in the country right now.
It's crazy. You saw the flip over in basketball where Tennessee and Alabama are, turning into that blue blood type teams ranked high with players in the NBA. Tennessee signed top 5 guy, Nate Oates, certainly. Rick Barnes got a lot of respect for him. Nate Oates is, doing well. So you kind of see it flip over in basketball. But in football, if you're a blue blood, you don't want to see Indiana ranked that high. I love it. I hope Cignetti stays. I want to be in a world where Indiana is making Michigan and Ohio State lose sleep. I'd be happy with that. And I'm just kind of rolling with the punches. I mean, things have changed so much for us old guys, but I kind of like it. It's kept it fresh. It's not easy on my nerves. Those games all coming down to the end. I mean, even Tennessee looked like they were pulling away, and then that thing, zips up before you know it. Sorry, Grant, go ahead.
You mentioned basketball. Once Bruce retired, Rick became the longest tenured SEC coach, which is crazy, and Nate's the second. And they're the only 2 guys that have been at their schools since pre-COVID. Like the entire rest of the league is basically since the 2022-23 season, which that kind of turnover.
It's just the SEC, and I know people like to make fun of it, but run your ass down here. Jump on in the water with us. We'll show you what the difference is. We'll show you what waking up in Columbia at 9 a.m. in the morning to play a fired up team, prepared for you. But I love it. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, this game alone, growing up, I had 2 brothers that were Tennessee fans. I have 3 brothers total. My other brother was an Alabama fan. So the trash talking never really got going. The mom was pretty adamant. So we had a healthy respect for each other. So I've always loved this game. I get excited for it. And, the last few have certainly been pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tim, I mean, you kind of went into it there, but I know it's, you're just now turning the page, getting into this new game week. But for the Alabama fan base, for, subscribers of Bama Online, kind of what's the talk already early in the week? This is the 3rd Saturday in October. I know you got the Iron Bowl as well, but this game means so much to so many people on both sides. What's the feeling here early in the week from the Alabama side, from the subscribers, about squaring off against Josh Heupel's team?
I mean, you wonder about the offense. Obviously, Josh Heupel calls a good game. I know he gets fired 2 or 3 times every game, no matter what he does. But he calls a good game. It's some of the best memories are those games. I mean, especially him and Saban went at it pretty good and had a lot of things going for him. But the formidable offense, 2 really good stories. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of great storylines of college football, but the Alabama and Tennessee quarterback situations, 2 of the biggest. I mean, Tennessee just swapped their quarterback with UCLA. They just swapped quarterbacks, and this guy come in and look even better than they did last year. So I think it is. I mean, it never got till tomorrow. It got to 12:01, and it was, I hate, Big Orange can suck it. I mean, it was 12:01 literally. That was a post on the board. It was like, no, we're here, So I love the energy. I love the fan stuff. I don't really get into the negative fan stuff a whole lot. I have know a lot of Tennessee people, but definitely excited about a game. Two good teams. Josh Heupel, Kane Wommack's kind of a good matchup. What can Alabama do against Tennessee defensively? They've given up some yards and some points against some pretty good teams too. So there's a lot of chess. If we're playing checkers, it might be Chinese checkers. We'll know more Saturday night. We'll think we're smarter Saturday night than we are right now, I'm guessing.
Well, the good thing is whoever loses this is not out of anything. I mean, you got to be a 10-2 team at the end of the year and hope you get in.
Basically. Yeah. And 10-2 is not going to guarantee you anything.
No, but it puts you in the conversation.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, you'll be up there pretty good. I'm not sure 9-3 if you got the right 9-3 losses with some wins to go with it won't have in there. Depends what everybody else does, but everybody's, not everybody. I saw the rest of Indiana's schedule, but I give them props. They won the games they had to win, but some teams are already they're already planning their playoff game, That's how crazy some schedules was. There's nothing here. I know Tennessee's going to have a rough schedule. Bama's got at South Carolina next week. They're at Auburn. They got LSU. Oklahoma's still coming to town. So the one good thing about this schedule, I think, for Alabama is they have to focus on every game. There's no, it's just Tennessee. There's none of that coming for Alabama.
Yep. No doubt. Should be a really, really good one, the third Saturday in October. And, if you want some preview and some analysis on either side, of course, Volquest on the Tennessee side, Bama Online. What do you guys got coming up this week in terms of getting ready for this one, Tim?
We're already rocking and rolling. Charlie Potter and Blake Byler do a good job for the team. They're driving back from Missouri. I will say shout out to the Volquest guys. I've been knowing Hubbard for forever. I had dinner with Eric. We all ate. Me, him, and Grant ate dinner in Austin, watched a high school football game with no recruits. Go figure. Like the biggest creep. Like, what's happening right here? Security, he's fine. Trust us. But he did. Austin did get the biggest piece of chocolate cake at Jay Alexander's. They delivered that chocolate cake, and also everybody was like, "Good Lord, it's like a whole birthday cake." But
the good news is Austin could watch that game because he ate his entire entree in a commercial break between possessions.
Oh, he was rocking and rolling. Yeah, he rocked and rolled that out. So, but you guys, big fans of all y'all's friends, more than just co-workers. I look forward to it. I just say this in case Alabama loses. Saturday night will be up y'all's butt if Alabama wins. No, I'm just kidding.
we'll see you Friday night when we roll up to the Watts State.
Yeah, we're staying with you, right?
Yeah, come on, not Austin. I got one of those hammock things for Austin, whatever those kids call when they hook them to the trees. They can lay in. I got about 10 of those I bought when they were trendy.
Tim, appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, see you, man.
As Tim Watts, he is the publisher. He's still here. I'm going to take him off here. He's the publisher of Bama Online, and I mean it. If you want any insider perspective on the Alabama side, just like you follow us at Volquest, check out Bama Online. They've got you. They got you covered there. Grant, you going to stick around for a few minutes?
Sure, whatever y'all need. Let's
Dude,
do
if
it.
you got to go, just go. But I'm going to ask you
where
questions.
Do I gotta go? Where do I got to go?
Give me your thoughts on Tennessee's win last night, 34-31.
Well, yeah, it is. It's what time is it? 9:30 on a Sunday night. This is about as energetic as I get at any point in the day. I mean, there's something to be said for survive and advance in this league. It was 34-17 midway through the fourth quarter, and if Tennessee takes a little better care of business, it's certainly a different looking final score and maybe a different feeling coming out of that game. But the concerns are still going to be there about the run game and the defensively stopping the run, getting off the field on third down and all that stuff. Like, this team is, I was thinking about it earlier. If you just make that field goal against Georgia, how differently are you feeling about this team if they're 6-0 and 3-0 in the SEC? It doesn't make them any different of a football team just because you made that field goal. You might still be getting pushed around by Arkansas and Mississippi State and all that stuff, but you know what? Find a way to win a football game. Eric, me and you were talking about that, leaving Starkville. Just find a way to win, survive in advance, stay alive for another week. I mean, Tennessee could go to Alabama and lose that game, and if you take care of business the rest of the way, you're still probably in that playoff conversation if you can find a way to go 10-2. So they're not playing their best football, clearly, but wins are wins, and there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I think it's pretty incredible. I was telling Brent before you got on, I don't think Tennessee's offense played bad, but they left a lot of meat on that bone. They scored 34.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, I mean, Joey keeps making plays. I mean, you looked pretty good offensively, and I know that Arkansas defense is bad, but Chris Brazel had 1 catch for 5 yards. Braylon Staley had a really tough day at Mississippi State. He bounced back with a huge game. Jashawn Bishop, that was his best that we've seen him in the run game. Tennessee's run game looked a lot better. And again, that's a bad Arkansas defense you're facing, but you got to take advantage of that. I mean, we're a year removed from Tennessee getting shut out in the first half of a lot of games, including at Arkansas, struggling to score it. So it's not quite it doesn't quite feel like the 2022 explosiveness, but it's kind of back to that where you're just trying to figure out ways to outscore opponents, and you got to kind of be able to do that until you can make some improvements defensively or play. Now that's the crazy thing. We've seen them play good defense in stretches. They got off the field a lot against Georgia in the second half when they had to, and they got some stops in Starkville when they had to. They buckled down there for 24 uninjured points there after Arkansas scored 17 in the first 20 minutes. So that was, there have been moments where they've looked like they're a competent defense. There's just been a lot of other frustrating moments where they just can't get out of their own way.
Dustin comes in with a super chat. He's got another one specifically for you two guys. So after this, we'll get his other one. But he said, how do they fit in a better balance, calling aggressive versus conservative, both offensively and defensively? It seems like since Josh Heupel started calling games conservatively when it was working last year, has he gone too far that way at times? I think a lot of fans were not happy with punting at Brent there, protecting a 10-point lead at your own or at the opposing 46 or whatever it was. What was your take on did Heupel call a conservative game there in the second half when they got up? What was your take on that?
I think you played it the way you're supposed to play it. I mean, you got a 10-point lead with 6 minutes to go in the game. You got it down to 4:51. You're running the football. I mean, the 3rd and 3 play, I just didn't execute it. I don't think Star Thomas ran that play well. I mentioned that in the 10 things I think he tried to freelance there instead of running the play that you were supposed to run it the way you were supposed to run it behind his blockers. He tried to go backside, and there wasn't anything there. Could you have thrown it? Should you maybe have thrown it? I don't know. Could you have pulled it on the zone keep? I mean, it's you're trying not to give them anything free. What you're thinking is they're not going to go 80 plays, Grant, in a minute and 56 seconds is what you're thinking is going to happen. And I don't think that was playing conservative defensively or prevent. I think that was just really bad execution defensively. I mean, you just can't allow a 30-yard seam pass to take place like that. So I didn't have a huge issue with the play calling on 3rd and 3. When they didn't get the first down there.
No, the defense is much more of a concern in that situation to me because you had Arkansas on its heels and you had the game flipped there in the second half, in the third quarter, into the fourth quarter. You got to get off the field. You got to do something, whether that's being more aggressive defensively or whatever it is, to just not give up back-to-back long touchdown drives to an offense that you had, I don't know, figured out, but you had some answers there for a while in the third quarter. You got to keep that going. You can't just let up right there. And I don't know if that's aggressive play calling or lack of execution or anything like that. But my mind goes defensively much more so than offensively.
Great. You want to take this next question from Dustin?
Let's see. I'm not too good on the pilot here.
Okay.
Read it first.
Question reads, also now that Grant is on here too, the first episode of Andy Griffith, the greatest American TV pilot of all time, just like Opie said, you need me.
The only time I remember the only thing I remember about that first episode is I think Andy's washing his truck or something. We never saw that truck again. Aunt B's trying to play baseball with him, but she's holding the barrel end of the bat instead of the handle end of the bat. That's all I remember about that. And Opie
I don't know anything about the pilot, but here are 3 scenes that I remember about the pilot.
Well, this is like a 2-minute sequence in a 30-minute episode.
Well, Aunt B had the moment where she threw the fishing pole into the pond or into the creek or lake, whatever they're fishing there, where she freaks out because there's a fish on the hook, and she lets the bird go. She lets Dickie, the bird, out of the cage, and then it's a great episode. You're not a big fan of the first year episodes. You've not had this.
No, I'm not. I'm later on.
That really bothers me, by the way.
Well, Andy was the funny man in the first season, and he got better later on when Barney became the funny man and Andy became the straight man. I would tell Dustin if he's asking about that. I'm sure this is not news to him, but go back and find the Danny Thomas segment where Andy Griffith came from.
Yeah.
That exists
the original pilot.
Right, that exists on the internet, and Aunt B is playing a different lady, and It's interesting. It exists there. You can go find it, and it's entertaining to watch and see where it came from.
For more on the Andy Griffith, tune in next week here on the Rocky Top Rewind.
Mayberry Rewind.
Mayberry Rewind. I like that.
Grant and I could occupy hours upon hours of that conversation.
Everybody's got a podcast nowadays. We have a few. You guys should start your own rewatch podcasts are all the rave now. You guys could rewatch the entire series, make some money.
Hey, Grant, before we let you roll out of here, what is your favorite episode? And then we'll get back to football because we got about 12 questions.
And then we're going to fire you because you need to spend time with your family. Stop writing all the stories.
That's like asking me to pick my favorite child, which is Lily. No questions asked. I have a collection. Bailey's Bad Boy is a good one. You know what's funny about that episode? He was on a dirt road in North Carolina, and he was like driving to Miami Beach or something. And then in the pickle episode, they give a jar of pickles to the guy who's on a dirt road in North Carolina. He says he's driving to Oregon. So I don't know where they found these people, but they were making some drives on the Haunted House is a great one. Michael Nelson, that is a very good one. Man in a Hurry is a great one.
It is a good one.
I can't believe we've gone this far down this rabbit hole.
All right, we'll stop it there. We will pick that up at a later date because
I can put on a pot of coffee.
And Eric has no idea what we're talking about. So, and neither.
Poor Theo, just catching strays here, man.
Well, sorry, buddy. It'd be like that.
Sounds like
all right, Grant. Appreciate it, man.
See you, buddy.
All right, see you, boys.
Thanks.
All right, Grant. Grant was only on here because, true story, Grant is only on here because Tim requested Grant to be on here. So we want to get it back to his Sunday evening. We'll continue to answer some questions here the last 17, 15 minutes of the show or whatever. There was a good question. I had it starred over here. 1 second. You wrote about this. Couldn't see it on the TV rewatch, and I guess I didn't catch it in real time, but I heard people talking about it. Did Mike Matthews stop running on that deep ball with him and Joe? He didn't connect. Seems like that could have been an easy touchdown if he ran through the route. It was slightly overthrown, but I did hear that he stopped running, and so, clearly that messed up the timing.
Yeah, I don't think Mike thought the ball was coming his way, and for whatever reason, he choked it down and was not at full speed there. I don't know why he thought the ball was going somewhere else, but he ran that route like he did not anticipate the ball was going to be coming his way, or at least that's what it looked like. I've not talked to Mike about it, but that's certainly what it appeared like watching the replay and watching it live there.
Is Braylon Staley okay? Josh Heupel said post-game that he was in the locker room celebrating the win with the guys. He actually went back into the football game towards the end. That looked scary there for a moment. Again, Tennessee, this is kind of what we talked about all offseason, where, sure, they might not play a lot of receivers, and they certainly haven't needed to this year because the three have been so dynamic. But if you lose a couple, you're in a world of hurt, right? And right now, your two backups, essentially, at least on the outside, Travis Smith and Radarius Jackson are out. Braylon Staley goes down. I know you go a lot of 12 personnel and all that, but obviously we'll track him, Deshaun Bishop, and all that this week. But he did go back in the football game, so that looked like a promising sign, I guess.
Yeah, certainly. He got back in the game after he went in. It was an upper body deal. Maybe he had some little tingling there. I don't know if it was a stinger or not, but it was not a structural situation where, like a collarbone or something like that. It didn't appear to be. And obviously they cleared him to go back into the game, which was positive.
Yeah, no doubt. This is a question for you. John, are they ever going to address the South End 1 upper deck issues? Took almost 75 minutes to get from inside gate 10 to HH. Any perspective on that part of Neyland Stadium?
I know it's in a discussion, and they realize that something needs to be done there to help that situation. How detailed that'll be, how in-depth that'll be, I don't know. But it's something that they're fully aware of, and the answer is not, well, it's too expensive. There's some things they're trying to figure out that they can do to make that a better experience. I'm not sure why it's taken so long to get up there. I know you got the new gate 9 entrance. I don't know why it's affected, or something would have affected entry time into the upper deck once you get through security and everything. So I don't have a better answer for that, but it's certainly an issue with the concourse being as narrow as it is, and nothing's been touched up there since that deck was added onto the stadium. I don't think they've never done any kind of renovations up there.
Vols are averaging 5 sacks a game in SEC play. Can UT bring Simpson down this much? I'll be interested to see. Again, I'm just now starting to really dive, and I know you are as well, just really starting to dive into the Alabama stats. And I've watched them some. I watched a little bit of them play Missouri, and against Georgia what I could and all that. But I think there's opportunity there. I mean, this offensive line, when I looked at the stats, and I know Jam Miller's been out, and I know he might be out for this game, but I was very surprised to see Alabama rank as low as they are running the football. And then to see that Alabama's only got 9 sacks, giving up 13 sacks, that's kind of surprising as well. So, again, based off just paper, what I've looked at right now, I think there's certainly some opportunity. Again, Tennessee can get back in the backfield and pressure the quarterback and bring the quarterback down with the best of them. It's can you hit your run fits? Can you not over pursue? Can you not miss tackles? I certainly think Tennessee can have the opportunity to get back there and harass Ty Simpson and bring him down and make things very difficult for him, no doubt. I think they could do it against anybody, not just an Alabama team that, according to the stat sheet, might not look like a normal Alabama team in those regards right now.
Well, if Tennessee's going to have a chance to win, they're going to have to make it very uncomfortable for Ty Simpson back there, because if they think they can play zone defense, he'll pick them absolutely apart. So, when they can get to the quarterback, they can end drives and get off the field. When they can't, they get picked apart. So they better find a way to get some pressure on him.
No doubt. Continuing to answer some of your questions. This is from Corey right here. Could Perry play left guard? That way you wouldn't have to move Moy and Perry to get David Sanders in. I thought about that before. I mean, it was always, Perry, Moy and Camp was playing left. Perry was playing right. Could Perry flip over, or is that just too much movement?
I mean, I don't know how much Jesse Perry's worked at left. I think he's mostly worked at right on the right side his entire career at Tennessee. I'm not saying he can't play there, given how well he picks things up, but I don't think he can go there right now. I think it would take some work learning that other side, because all your hand placement's different, all your footwork's totally different. Can he physically do it? Can he mentally do it? Yeah, I think with work he could, but I don't know. Wendell Moy's a guy, and the reason everybody has said flip Wendell Moy back is Wendell Moy has played both guard positions in his collegiate career. He's played right and left guard at Arizona, so he's comfortable doing that. It's an easier transition for Perry to slide inside on the right side than it would be to take him from right tackle and move him to left guard, in my opinion. And I think that's why that conversation's never been talked about.
Brent, let's kind of get off subject here. Let's talk about this rivalry a little bit. Tennessee, Alabama, third Saturday in October. Tennessee's not won in Tuscaloosa, obviously, since 2003. It was 15 straight there for a little bit. Chase McGrath, his knuckleball through, ended that one in 22. Since then, they've split. Tennessee's won 2, Alabama's won 2. Tennessee's won both of those in Knoxville. Why is Alabama, outside of just some far inferior teams, going to a far better team in Alabama? Why has Tennessee struggled so much on the road in Tuscaloosa?
Well, they've taken some teams down there during that stretch that just weren't good enough to win. For one, they've had some fluky things have happened. You go back to they were playing with them, and Garantano had the fumble, and Alabama returned it 100 yards for a touchdown. Tennessee got in position to win that game. I think they came off the gas too early and settled for a long field goal that was probably not going to get made anyway by Daniel Lincoln, and then Cody blocks it. That they had the year that Corey Anderson fumbles and the ball went through the end zone for a touchback. And so they've had some freaky things that have happened. They've been in some games late. They haven't been able to hold on to them and finish them. And then there's some games that went in and just weren't good enough. And that was part of it. It's been a hard place to win. And a lot of that was under, obviously Nick Saban. There's an expectation that you're going to win there. And they won a lot there. But, you go look at it. I mean, think about last time Tennessee went down there. Tennessee played extremely well in the first half, but they left points on the board. They ended up settling for field goals. They didn't capitalize on turnovers and turn them into touchdowns. They settled for a field goal. And then, the thing came apart on them at the start of the second half with the fair catch deal. Then Josh Heupel went for it a couple times on fourth down, turned it over on downs, gave Alabama a short field, ball game's over. And so you've got to play well down there if you're going to win. You can't go down there and settle for a bunch of field goals. You can't go down there and turn it over. You can't go down there and have 10 penalties to take you out of scoring range or to end drives that way. You have to play well to win down there, and Tennessee's just not played well enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of brought it up there, and I know it was Nick Saban, as not Kalen DeBoer. I think Tennessee under Josh Heupel's played pretty well down there in
They have.
Tuscaloosa.
And they just haven't played well enough.
And they haven't finished.
Yeah, they haven't finished.
Yeah.
I mean, the first year they went down there in 21, I mean, Tennessee had no business being on the field with them. And they found a way to hang. I mean, you go back and watch that game. I don't think Tennessee ran the ball to the left the entire game because of where they were on the offensive line. Every run play was a right-handed run because that was their only chance to move the football. And then they threw it all over the place on them in 21 because Alabama didn't have a feel for what Tennessee was doing offensively. They didn't have enough horses to finish that game, but they scared Alabama into the second half. They outplayed Alabama in the first half down there 2 years ago. Yeah. They just didn't have the points to show for it. Much the same way Auburn last night didn't have the points that they should have had more points in the first half. Now I'm not talking about just officiating, but they moved the ball up and down the field. That they let some stuff get away in the first half. They should have had a bigger lead than what they had. If you're going to win one of those games and you're going to beat somebody that's quote better than you, or you're going to win on the road, you have to take advantage of those opportunities and finish drives in the end zone.
Yeah, I thought Joe Milton's best throw of his Tennessee career ever was he had two really good throws in that game, but to Squirrel White on the opening drive, forgot how long it was, but it was one of those deep balls, front corner, front pylon of the left end zone. That was a beautiful ball. And then right before the half, if you remember, to McAllen Castles, a little touch on that ball. I thought Joe played really well in the first half. Now they strip sack, fumbled him, took it back for a touchdown, or set themselves up for a touchdown in the second half. Got away from him, but I thought that was one of Joe's better games in a Tennessee uniform. Then he followed that up with playing pretty well at Kentucky the next week, and that was a pretty good run for him. I think Tennessee, obviously, and again, this is going to be a much better football team. They play better defense. I'll be intrigued to see about the run game. Will Jam Miller be available? Tim certainly didn't feel confident in that, but we all know how concussions work. It just kind of depends on the person, day-to-day type deal. I think Tennessee can run the football a little bit, and of course, I think they can throw it around a little bit. But it's going to come down to that defense, as it feels like it's always going to do. You're going to give up stuff. Tim said he doesn't want to say that Alabama's bend but not break. Tennessee's bend, break, and then come back and make your own breaks, if you will, right? How many of those plays is Tennessee going to make in this football game? I think they're good for one or two. Will it be enough? Can you take a step in the right direction? I think this game, obviously, I think Tennessee can win this game. But as bad as they've been at points and times defensively, where they just drop the ball in special teams on the road at Mississippi State, can't afford any of that, right? You don't have to play perfect, but you can't beat yourself. And right now, Tennessee's kind of trying to beat themselves at points of time, but they're good enough to find ways to win. They found a way to win against Mississippi State. They found ways to win against Arkansas. I don't know that they can find a way to beat Alabama on the road if they continue to really try to beat themselves.
Well, I think the red zone stat will be a fascinating and a key stat in this game. Who can make teams force field goals, and who's going to end up scoring touchdowns? The team that scores the most touchdowns and doesn't have to settle for field goals is obviously going to win this game. You say, well, that's true for every case. I think both these defenses will give up yards. But the question is, who can get enough stops, who can force field goals and not give up touchdowns?
Yeah. Should be interesting. Got a question here from Ben. He said, Brent, is it true that an Arkansas player kicked a Tennessee player? They were talking about it on the radio. I never saw anything about that. Did you?
I didn't see a kick, but, I mean, it was nasty. I mean, and listen, Arkansas went into that deal looking for a street fight and wanted to fight. That's exactly what they wanted to do. And they let it get chippy. That officiating crew let it get nearly out of hand and didn't have very good control of it. Arkansas, when you make a coaching change, one of two things can happen. Either everybody loves the head coach that you just got rid of and your team, fails on you and doesn't play well. See Wyoming, Philip Fulmer, Tennessee. Or everybody sort of rallies. Arkansas rallied. And you would have much rather played an Arkansas team coached by Sam Pittman yesterday than one coach, the way that it was, right? Yeah. I mean, by Bobby Petrino. Not because Bobby Petrino is a superior coach necessarily, but change sometimes is good. And Bobby Petrino rallied that group, had the us against the world mentality, pick a fight, and go play. And Arkansas played with a lot of emotion, and they played better. Now, the question I've got is, can Arkansas do that week in, week out? Can they play with that kind of edge? If they can, they'll steal a game against somebody. They'll upset somebody. I mean, they could get Texas A&M at home potentially. I don't think they would, but I don't know that they can play with that kind of emotion and edge the rest of the way if they don't win one here pretty quickly. We'll have to see.
Yeah, again, look at that schedule. It's they got a lot of games left on that schedule. And if you can score, you have a chance. And that's a lot like I understand people losing their minds about Tennessee's defense at times, but your offense can score. I'm not saying everything's great and gravy, right? But your offense can score and you're creating takeaways. Like you're going to be in every game. You're going to have a chance to win every game. Arkansas can score, and their problem is they just can't stop anybody for the most part. So I'll be intrigued to see kind of what they look like the rest of the way. Brady says the defense has struggled, but the offense has got to get points off those turnovers. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to bring it up again. 3 takeaways, 1 touchdown off those takeaways. In total for Arkansas, Tennessee stopped them 6 times, so they didn't get any points on drives. Managed just 14 points off 23 plays for 129 yards, which is just clearly not good enough. When the defense is trying to help you out, right? 34 points could have been a whole lot more. You've got to take advantage of that for sure.
Hey, I want to pull up GC alum the Hill there.
Okay, which one?
He's got 3 of them there. You can roll them all up right quick.
Okay.
He's talking about Josh Heupel going conservative, and he disagrees with me, which is fine. I love a good debate. I don't understand why you have. I don't think you have to go crazy there to and quote be conservative. I mean, he says Tennessee had not stopped Arkansas. Well, the reality is the second half for Arkansas was fumble, turnover on downs, punt, fumble before the 10-play, 81-yard drive. So they had stopped Arkansas the entire second half. They had a 17-point lead, and you're trying to get out of there with the win. I don't think you have to be wild and aggressive there and go with a quick 3 and out. I mean, go get the first down and move on. They just didn't execute a lot. I know they hadn't stopped him in the front. I'm not going to debate him on here. I mean, they had 1 drive where they hadn't stopped him. Okay. And then, I mean, it was 1 drive and you still had you had a 2-possession lead there. I don't think you throw it to take a chance on an interception or throw it 3 and out and not take any time off the clock. What you're trying to do is you're believing your run game, which had rushed for 265 yards, and you get out of the game and you go win. That's why, because they had stopped them, they built a 17-point lead, and they could play it that way.
Last thing real quick, Travis Smith Jr., progress and injury. It doesn't feel like this one's going to be a long-term deal, but certainly I would consider that week to week right now. It's a lower body injury, right, Brent?
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if he's ready this week. He was in a walking boot on Saturday. I don't think that was one of those walking boots they hand out like Halloween candy for, just to make sure for a little precautionary reason. I clearly think there was something going on there. So I don't think that I would be surprised if he's available to play this week, but I don't know that it's a season-ending long-term deal or anything like that.
Yeah, just like on defense, sooner or later the wide receiver position should be getting healthier at some point where Darius Jackson will return. That's not going to be this week. At some point, Travis Smith Jr. will be back, and then, of course, we'll have to pay attention to Braylon Staley. But, again, he did finish the game, so that was very encouraging to see. It's been the Rocky Top Rewind. We do it every single Sunday night right here during football season. We thank our proud presenting sponsor, Spivey King and Spivey, for being a part of the show, allowing us to do this. You got a problem, let them find a solution for you. TN Trial Lawyers. If you need a free consultation, you can dial this phone number 423-245-4185 and you'll receive a free consultation. Again, that phone number's on the screen. Check them all out at Spivey King and Spivey LLP.com as well. Big week coming up, 3rd Saturday in October. We're going to preview this game from every single angle. We'll talk about stats, trends, personnel, all that and more. We'll see if Tennessee can pull off the first win in Tuscaloosa since 2003, and a win for both teams. A big win in terms of the college football playoff conversation, and should be a good one. So don't go anywhere. Stay with us here at Volquest.com each and every single day. Thank you so much for being here on the Rocky Top Rewind. He's Brent Hubbs. Big thanks to Tim Watts, Grant Raymond for stopping by the show. Thanks for your questions. I'm Eric Kane. We'll see you next week right here on the Rocky Top Rewind.